Hey YouTube, we're going to be resurfacing this 25-year-old wooden deck with Timbertech Vintage PVC composite boards. I guess they're not composite, they're actually wrapped PVC. And we're going to put in a powder-coated aluminum railing. We're going to keep the herringbone pattern, but we're going to put a 3.5-inch transition board in between the herringbones. And on the outside, we're going to frame it with a 5.5-inch darker board, hickory. And then we're going to do the floor planks in mahogany. So all of this is going to need to be blocked out to accept the framing board and the new herringbone, because it needs a place to screw into. We're going to screw the whole thing down with Cortex screws and color matching caps. So you can see I've already started the demo just to see what I was getting into. And today I'm going to take the railing down. So I'm going to take down these 2x4s that are in between each post, and then I'll unbolt the posts. The posts have 2 bolts each holding them. And so today's going to be demo day. I'm going to start with the railing before I do any more floorboard. And then while I have the floorboard off, I'm actually going to stain it, stain the joist, the top of the joist, and then I'm going to, after that dries, I'm going to put joist tape on top to protect the 25. The joists are still in good shape, so I'm not replacing the frame, just the surface of the deck. Okay, I'm up on a ladder here, and we got the demo done. So the next step, and I've already started, is we're gonna block out for the picture frame. So what we're gonna do is, this is a sample board, not the right color, but it's gonna be a 1/2-inch fascia here. So a 1/2-inch fascia, the 5.5-inch framing board all around the deck. And then the herringbone is gonna go this way. So I need to put in these blocks, which are 2x10s, in a straight line. This is 3.5, this is 3 3/4 inch. This is 1.5 inches plus the 1/2-inch fascia board. So it'll come to about here. And then there'll be these 1.5-inch blocks that will allow the floorboard to set on diagonally. So I have to go down the whole deck, and then where there's going to be a bolt-on railing, I put a 4x4 in between the block and the outer fascia board to give the railing something to bolt to. So periodically you're going to see those blocks for the railing. All right, we're going to be building the stairs out today. Got all the materials in. So what we're going to do, we're going to picture frame these steps. That's why I have the blocks on the outside to support the frame. It's going to be on a 45-degree angle. We're going to use, these are 5.5-inch boards. We're going to use 3.5-inch boards, 3 of them. So 3, 6, 9, 10.5 plus, the gaps bring me out to 11 inches. And we're going to face the outside with 12-inch boards. So the frame's going to overhang the 1 inch for the facing, or the 1/2 inch for the facing, plus another 1/2 inch. So they're going to overhang. No, I'll make it a 1/4 inch overhang and a 1/2 inch. So they're going to overhang 3/4 inch from the riser. Again, a 1/2 inch for the facing board, and then another 1/4 inch. And this will be on a 45. I'm going to use 3.5-inch hickory on the outside, and then 3.5-inch mahogany on the inside. So there's going to be 1 hickory and 2 mahogany, and that's going to match the framing on the top of the deck. And then we have 1-inch riser boards. So after the stairs are down, then the riser board's going to go on top, and that's 7 inches. And that's just going to be a straight shot, but the riser board's going to be flush with the stringer, and the fascia board is going to cover the riser. So, and then what I'm going to do is, these are going to be 45 degrees, these frames are going to be 45 degrees, and I'm going to pocket joint them and PVC glue them, because there's going to be problems with the joints separating. So now that I've explained it all, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to cut a couple of these sample boards down to 3.5 inches just to test my pocket jig. All right, I took a couple of my sample boards, cut them down to 3.5 inch, and I noticed my saw started chipping. I got a very rough blade that I was using to cut joists, and I'll have to put a finer blade in when I cut these Timbertech boards. So, of course, these are going to be the same color, but this is a test for the pocket hole jig I got at Harbor Freight for about 60 bucks. And this is 3/4 inch roughly, so I'm going to use these 2 top holes. This angle is designed for the thinner boards, and this is designed for like 2x4s, thicker boards. And here's the drill bit, and you set the collar so that when you drill all the way down, it doesn't hit the bottom and dull the drill bit. So basically the pocket holes are going to be on the back side, and there's just going to be 1 here and 1 here, and then I'll PVC glue the joint before I screw it. Hopefully we'll get nice, long lasting, tight joints. So we'll go ahead and put the piece in the jig, clamp it down. You adjust this so that you get a nice tight, and then you drill the pocket holes. All right, we got our 2 pocket holes. Now the screws, pick the appropriate length screw. I'm not going to use these. I'll get some nice stainless screws, but they screw in like that. I guess the appropriate way to do it would be to clamp it. And I don't have a corner clamp capable of handling these 3.5 inch boards, so I'm just going to clamp them down to the stairs here. And I'm going to put a little PVC glue on, and then test it, take the screws out in a couple of days and test the strength. Put it on both sides. Not too tight on this guy. That way the screws can pull it in. Yeah, nice tight joint. Wow. This is why I'm experimenting. I think it's not too bad, but it's a little bit of a gap here. So I think I might put the next pocket screw up a little higher when I do the real one. Otherwise, it looks pretty darn good. And again, I'll take the screws off in a couple of days and test the strength of it. Here's the test miter joint that I did with the 2 pocket holes screwed in PVC glue. And it's dry, the glue is dry now. It's strong. Cutting the end of the risers, I've been having to cut off the end piece because the board wasn't cut square at the factory. See how it's narrower at that end and this end? So every board was consistently not square. Okay, the riser's in place, and I cut the boards, the 2 inside boards, mahogany and the outside hickory, and I cut my end pieces, so I'm going to pocket hole these on both sides, and I also have the stringer cover on, so the stringer cover sticks out enough to accept the riser. Okay, here it is, everything but screwed in. I'm using 3/16 spacers, and I think that's going to be a good look. I don't have the Cortex screws, so I can't screw it in. Yeah, that's going to be a good look. Just made my first prototype corner piece for the fascia, and I bent it on a 90 right here. When I cut it, I took a 5.5 piece of the flooring plank, cut a 45 degree, and then I cut a 1/2 inch notch out for the actual fascia. So here's the 1/2 inch notch here. Actually went longer this way. So the end result is I'm going to have a finished side on the corner and the edges of this. And it's going to go on the corner like so. And then the fascia will slide up underneath that on both sides. And then of course the flooring plank will go over top of this, so you won't see that. I think it's going to look pretty good. Now I got to cut 2 more over here And instead of 45-degree angles, I'm going to use 22.5-degree angles to get that correct. So let me go make those. All right, first cut was to get the 22.5. So I set my table saw on 22.5. Set the blade height just below the height of the board. And set the finish to get both cuts. Now I'll cut the 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch notch out where the fascia board goes underneath. I've got all the cuts made. Now I just heat it with a heat gun along this line right here and put a little bit of PVC glue in here and then bend it on the 45. Two 25.5-degree cuts, it'll bend on a 45. And this 2000 watt hair dryer to heat this edge. All right, here's the corner of the deck. Here's the piece I made. I put a little filler sliver of PVC in where the saw blade was, but it's gonna fit in there nicely. Make a nice corner. So again, once I've got the board cut out, I heat it with the hair dryer in the groove for about 60 seconds and it bends like putty. I bend it to the angle I want, and then I fill in with a very small sliver of PVC that I cut from one of the boards and glue it in. And it's really strong. I've got inside 45s, outside 45s, outside 45s. I've got 45s, I got outside 90s, inside 90s. And I've got one of these for each scenario. I got 8 of them. So the outside 45s, an inside 45, outside 45, inside 90, and an outside 90. So we'll show you the finished product when we're ready. Well, as you can see, we got the stairs in place and the fascia all in place with the corners. It's an inside corner, an outside corner. Looks pretty good. The fascia coming down the stairs. And we got the stairs framed, the hickory, and the mahogany in the middle. I have 5 stringers on a 4-foot stair. It's pretty solid. All right, we got all the joists installed on the deck. So we basically have 8-inch centers now. It's all taped with butyl rubber. And we've got the framing done. And all the framing is pocket holding screwed underneath and PVC glued. Still need to put a couple of joists here. I ran out of joists. So today we'll, on the far end, we'll start with the chevron pattern. Another day, a couple more sections of boards put in. Still need to put in the extra joists here. The deck is nearly complete. Very happy with the results. Clearly we're gonna have to upgrade the deck furniture. But really like the two-tone at the door going into the house. put a little piece of trim here. Just cut the board in half underneath the door lip, and the joints are holding up. It's been over a week. Well, this one's covered by the deck pole, but the screwed and glued joints are really holding up well. I hooked up the gas line to the grill, and really like the chevron pattern. The railing is more transparent than the old wooden railing, and I think the powder coated aluminum will really hold up well. And again, the joints, the screwed and glued joints, again, they're a week old, but really happy with the results there. Stairs, which are also framed, are holding up. And in the future, I'll put comments, you know, in a few months, in a few years, as to how these pocket hold and glued joints hold up. And I'm really happy with the fascia and these corner pieces I put in along every seam. It's a really good look, and I don't have to worry about expansion and contraction of the boards, because it's all done underneath the cover pieces I put on. So I am considering putting on cover pieces here. So what I would do is I would take a 3.5-inch board, slice it in half, so I can make 2 out of each one, but I just don't want them too thick here. And then put a V in it, put it under the heat gun and bend it in half. So I would eliminate this fascia seam. Even though it's only a 1/2 inch, it still bothers me a little bit. So I think I'm gonna do that little project today.